No worries. I got more room there.
That's yours. Yeah, two of them. Yeah, two now.
Good evening, everyone. The Lapeer Community School Board of Education meeting is now called to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance this evening. Dr. Watson, would you please lead us through the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Watson. Okay, next on our agenda is the presenting school. So I'll hand it over to you, Superintendent Wong.
Thank you, Madam President. It is my distinct pleasure, I don't know if I can say that, to unfortunately introduce for the last time, presenting to the Lapeer Community Schools Board of Education, Mr. Shad Spilsky on benchmark 1.2D.
So Andre, thank you. So with it being my last time, I figured I'm just gonna make sure we go the longest I've ever gone. I didn't bring my phone up here to have a clock, so we're gonna roll until.
Don't make us happy, you're leaving.
I know. Thank you for having us tonight. So Community High and LVP will be presenting. We have a number of different presenters talking about some different things tonight. So it won't be me necessarily talking. So if we go long, it's their fault.
Their fault.
But
Leadership.
yeah, right. Yeah, delegating. But I think you're gonna hear some really good stuff of some things that we got going on in our two programs out there. So again, looking at our board goal that we'll talk about here in a second, the type of virtual students in LCS, I think it's always important. And we have some new board members that haven't heard this piece of it, but just seeing what we do virtually in our district, and then ways that we're working towards our goal. Mrs. Sarah Taylor talked about Ruby Payne, some of the PD that we're doing with our staff out at LVP virtual, and some of our special ed staff and auxiliary staff. I have two students from Community High that are going to do some testimonials about their experience at Community High. I have Michonne Parito, who's our director of our LVP program, going to give some updates of some things that they're doing out there. And then Katie Edwards, who's one of our teachers out at LVP, is going to talk about something that I think is going to be exciting for you guys when we're talking about budgets and that kind of stuff. We have some really innovative things that are taking place in the LVP world that's going to, I think, set the Lapeer Community Schools apart from a lot of school districts going in the future. So it's really good stuff for you guys tonight. So as Mr. Winder said, this is our goal. Our board goal for this year was that benchmark 8% of our students taking a virtual course through LCS will complete with a passing grade. I'm excited to say we're really close. We are really close. 79% in the first semester is where we are with all of our virtual kids taking the classes. 79% are passing. That is the highest it's been in my time here. As you can see, we go back to 2018. We are making strides through that. And as I talked with Michelle before spring break, we're going to have to probably look at this goal for next year and up the ante of maybe that 85 percentile piece so that we can continue to strive for that going in the future for our programs out there. But there's some really good work there that's going on in the different buildings, whether it's the high school, whether it's CFI or over LVP, that's really raised this mark in the last couple years. And we're going to share that with you tonight. So, what type of students do we have that are virtual? Again, we have our Lapeer virtual students, so that's a full-time student here in LCS. They are enrolled in 3 or more virtual classes. Okay, so they can look a lot different than your normal traditional student. So, you might have a full-time virtual student who is at LHS, but they're taking 3 virtual classes, maybe taking 3 classes at the high school and face-to-face. They could be taking 4 virtual classes and 2 5 and 1, or they may be taking all their virtual courses and maybe working through the partnership or doing their stuff at home. So through people accounting, through the state, that's what the definition is. They have to be taking 3 or more classes to be considered full-time virtual. Michonne did a great job this year with the enrollment of getting new kids into our district. She had 92 full-time virtual students that were brand new to the district this year, and then 8 part-time kids. So she got 100 new students that were not a part of LCS last year into our district this year through our program. Which is, when we talk about our financial needs right now, that's a big thing. We have our Lapeer Community High School students, so those are our students that are at our alternative program or out of Maple Grove. So those are full-time students taking 6 virtual courses, but having face-to-face instructor or a mentor that are in the building, and they are coming into a brick and mortar building and kind of going through a normal day of school and just doing it virtually. We have our onesie twosies. I know Dr. Larson talked about this at the last board meeting about what that looks like over at LHS. That's our kids who are taking at least 4 or 5 traditional face-to-face classes at LHS, but they wanted to do something different that maybe we didn't offer at the high school. So they take a lab, virtual lab, where they kind of work as a one-off with a teacher. So we call it onesie twosies. So they can only take up to 2. So if they take that 3rd, we go back to the beginning where they become a full-time virtual student. So we have, I think this spring is always really big. I think we have over 160 to 170 kids in high school taking a onesie twosie class at the high school. So that's you're talking about almost 10%, a little bit 10% of the high school is taking a virtual course at housing. That also includes our after-school campus. So for our kids who maybe didn't do so well and they need to recover in class, they take a virtual class during that 7th hour at the high school. So we look at those numbers too for those virtual classes. We have our partnership, which is a little bit different than our LV. That's our homeschool kids who are taking 2 to 5 electives. So they're not taking the common, they're not taking the core classes. They're not taking English, math, social studies, or science, but they're taking at least 2 up to 5 virtual courses out at the partnership through the teachers out there. And then with the LV students and the partnership, we have our 2-day programming. So Michonne has 2 blocks that run. So we have kids who, once they have some face-to-face interaction with teachers, so our staff out there, whether it's the mentors or our certified staff, they'll come up on a Monday, Thursday and do the projects, the portfolios of the work, or they come on Tuesday, Friday. And then on Wednesdays is kind of our lay days or optional learning experiences where they come in. If you're taking a music class virtually, we might have somebody who's giving guitar lessons, or if you're in a culinary class, there's a cooking class going on out there. So it's a class that we pay for. We bring in people that do those kind of things, but the kids are taking a virtual class to kind of have that incentive to maybe take the experience if I'm doing music, that I'm learning an instrument or something like that. So a really cool program. It continues to grow. That building out of Crampton, from when I started, I think Mark could speak to this, we had very few kids attending that. From 12 years ago, I think Michonne had 8 kids total.
8.76 is the number.
I think if you were to look at virtual in general, any kid that's taking a virtual class, we have upwards to 700 kids in our district that are taking a virtual class somehow, some way through one of these programs. So it's grown a ton out of the partnership with the LV program. We're around 425 bodies of kids that are taking a virtual class out of that program. When I came on and was moved into this role, we were around 225. So it's really grown. Michonne's done a great job with the staff out there to really grow that program. And you can walk out there any day and see the smallest of small kindergartners all the way to seniors. And they're operating within the same building, doing the things they need to do to get the education that they want. So
We're taking LCS back to a one-room schoolhouse model.
right? Yeah. So really, really good stuff. So how are we working towards that goal, that 80%? So this is where the story's going to kind of shift gears, and I'm going to bring Sarah Taylor up here. She's going to talk about Ruby Paint, which is a training that she and I have been allowed to do this year. Michelle Bradford allowed us to go to do Ruby Paint training, and now we've been giving it to our staff at our virtual world. She's going to give you a teaser of what we've been training our staff on.
So part of the goal is aligning kind of our work with the staff and understanding our students better, right? Because our population has changed. And so the work of Ruby Paint is not new to us. It's actually been around for over a decade. And really, I think what prompted Chad and I to go to Michelle about this training is the fact that our population has changed. And we need to look at how we want to change our ways, change our understanding of our population. And so we go to Ruby Payne as the expert for us. She really provides, in this particular book, a framework of 10 actions that will help us meet the needs of our students. And so I'm not going through all of the actions, it's just a little teaser, but this is kind of her outcomes and her roadmap. Really, it's her goals in this, and what we've learned is through these different action steps, we can improve teacher and student relationships, which we know is vital in our achievement. We can increase student achievement, and we can reduce discipline referrals through some of these actions. And when we think about people of poverty or people who are under-resourced in our community, we look at the lens of Ruby Payne, and it's the extent to which an individual does without resources. So we immediately think about finances, right? They don't have enough money to maybe support their needs. But it's really about 8 other factors, 8 other resources. And our school has done a lot to provide some of these resources for our students, but it's not just about our school, right? It's about looking at the community to help us bring in some of these resources. And I think over time, after COVID especially, we've been able to bridge some of these gaps for our community. But not only is finance, we have to bridge the gap of emotional resource, which are like our mental health, our social work. We've got those resources in our schools more than we've ever had them. And then we have mental resources, which is also there in our school. We have STEM-H, we have those community resources as well. But also looking at spiritual resources, and that's having a future story. Not just living for the moment, but knowing maybe that there's a dream, there's a vision of achieving something. Physical resource, the ability to work, the ability to do something. Support systems, right? We are a big support system here, but the families have to be that support system too. And then relationships. We know one good adult makes such an impact in a student's life, right? And that is actually the one item that is linked to lifetime success for our students. When they have one special adult that means something to them, they can achieve anything. And then knowledge of hidden rules. There's hidden rules within each class. And it has been probably, this is what I want to talk a little bit about, because that's the biggest impact that I think our teachers have been just like in awe about, didn't even think about. But answering that first question, which resource on the list is most linked to personal bankruptcy, that's actually not financial, it's the physical, the inability to work. So knowing some of these hidden rules and just being more transparent about our under-resourced families and what they're having to deal with helps us relate to them as educators. And so when we think about this continuum of resources, if you have families that are living on that left side in that under-resourced area, these are some of the things that are making them very unstable, right? If you live in that resource area, you're living more on that right side, right? You're more stable. Your exposure to things and experiences way more than what an under-resourced family would have. But there's one that really hits CFI a little bit more than others, and that's that isolation piece. What we're finding in our students' body is the fact that we bring in speakers, we send them out on field trips, but they love our system so much that they don't want to experience outside of our walls of our CFI. We're a family, we're close, and something that's been a barrier is that they're all gung-ho, they believe in us, I want to go on that field trip, I want to hear that speaker, but when the day comes, we've got one coming in April. Michelle and I send some of our kids over the Career Construction Day Fair. It's through the Operating 324 where they actually get into cranes and they do the bulldozers and they get to experience what heavy machinery, those trade jobs look like. We get such a big amount of students who sign up the day before or the day of. They decide not to come to school, they get an upset belly. They're just in a world of isolation. They don't want to bridge outside. They don't want to take those risks. So we really work hard to help expose them as much as we can to that outside world, right? So there's a few examples there that we talk about in each of our action steps. I think it's important to note that our businesses in our community, including our school system, we kind of work from a middle class standpoint through the norms and our values. And the more we can educate our educators, and the more we can educate the community in what all of the classes look like and how our students are coming to us, we can see success and more of an impact. One of the actions that Ruby Payne talks about are these hidden rules, right? And when you don't know the hidden rules of class, oftentimes you can break relationships because you didn't know that you were even doing something to offend or to trigger or to do something with families and students. So this is just a quick kind of a overview of some of the things that we talk about in our training, and this just talks about how our under-resourced families view certain things, where their time, their money, their resources go to, and how they look at things, right? You take a look at possessions, right? A family that's in an under-resourced situation, in a poverty situation, their possession, their number one is their people. Not that it isn't for middle class or wealthy, but people is so crucial to them, right? They can't call AAA to get their tire replaced or to help them on the side of the road. They depend on their family, they depend on people, they depend on relationships to survive, to meet their needs. Where those in middle class, it's about things. It's about quantity of things, buying things, right? And this is just a predictability. It's a generalization, right? Wealth, it's all about one-of-a-kind objects, the legacies, the pedigrees, right? I'm gonna skip down to time. When we think about how time is useful or used in each of these classes, those that are under-resourced are living or making decisions based on feelings, based on survival, right? They're made for the moment, they're made for the present. That's why it's important that our kids are making vision boards. They're looking for the future. They're seeing themselves as a teacher or whatever it is they want to become. Middle class, we associate future as most important. You need that diploma, you need that degree, you need to get good grades because you need to go to college or you need to do that, right? We value achievements. Wealth looks at traditions and past histories are most important. Decisions are made on just tradition. We did it because we've always done it, right? So Ruby Payne takes this and just helps us understand our students a little bit more. And that's just a little bit of what we've been talking about with some of the educators. Now I would like to, you want me to introduce our students?
Yeah.
This is the most important part. This is Sori, and this is Olivia. And they are seniors this year at CFI, and they just have some words that they'd like to share with you, right?
I promise we're not scared.
Yeah, sorry, Anna. I'm 17. I'm currently a senior at CFI. My name is Olivia, and I'm currently a senior at CFI. I'm 17. So I go to CFI the first 3 hours of the day, and then I go to EdTech for nursing careers the last 3 hours. I chose to go to CFI because I'm needing to make up some credits, and it's just like a smaller group of kids, so it's more like you're invested in teachers, you have better relationships with them, and it's easier to like ask for help and not like feel ashamed. I'm full-time there. I don't do EdTech or anything, so I go all 6 hours of the day. I came to CFI from, I was at the Davidson Alternative, and then I was online, and then I came to CFI with no credits at all. I just really like it because it was very easy to like associate with everybody, like the students, the teachers were very welcoming. Same thing with the students, nobody was right there to be rude, and everyone was right behind you and was so polite with helping you find your classes, helping you do your classes, logging in, all of that. Yeah, they're just like a very like connected group, like being with kids. Like I would say there's not like lots of drama. I mean like there's still your regular high school girls, but it's not like, it's more like people get mad at you for being rude to other people more than they want to be invincible. So they would rather have like an open community where everybody talks to everybody and you say good morning to everybody. So like I walk in the morning to school, everybody says good morning to me, you know, say like all my teachers, the kids I talk to. It's just a good environment to be in, and there's not much like, there are kids that still struggle to get their classes done, but every kid has that sometimes, like losing motivation, but your teachers really try to make sure that you're invested in your work and try to help you with your work, or you know, spend more time with you working on things individually. My experience in CFI has been pretty good. Definitely ups and downs here and there. It allowed me to graduate early, so I can go and work a little more, and like even Spilsky, he had wrote me a note yesterday, I think it was, about for me to be able to work more hours and more days. So I like how they support, like very much they do support everybody a lot. Like with even something so small, they'll support you with it. Like if you're excited over something small and stupid, they'll support it. They're very invested in everything that you talk about, everything that you do, and like they ask you about stuff that you told them about. So it's like you know if they listen to you. And going to CFI, I've been also able to graduate early, so I don't have to go the first year. I was just go to EdTech, which has been a lot because nursing is a lot of work. But with going to CFI, I've been able to graduate from college already, so I have my associates in medical administrative system. And after I'm done in May, I will have my phlebotomy certificate. It's been a good opportunity. Being in CFI, I came there in my 10th grade year. Struggled a lot for my first year. My second year, I still continued to struggle. But towards the end of it, I really picked up on my work. This whole year for my senior year, I picked up a lot on my work. And I want to say, towards the end of first semester, I got accepted into Mott for pre-nursing. Ms. Taylor helped me learn a lot about Mott, something with Miss Music. Both of them helped me a ton, learning a ton about Mott. One of our teachers, he helped me look at scholarships, look at my classes, told me how much, like, what my GPA has to be for the classes. He went through everything and helped me out. So it was a very simple process for me to be able to go through and transition into going from high school to my college stuff.
And you came here with no credits.
Yes. I came with absolutely 0 credits. I was not motivated to do school whatsoever, just like any other teenager.
Well, also you made a poor choice by going to Davidson, but you saw the interview. We all make mistakes, Olivia. It's okay. Now you're here.
I went to high school at Davidson originally. I will say they are.
We don't have to say it. We love our friends at Davidson.
Like with their alternative, because I did go their alternative because being in a high school there, I still was not motivated to do anything. So I ended up going to their alternative because I wasn't doing any work. And even in their alternative, I still did not do anything. But their alternative is completely different between like our alternative. Like with ours, it's so small that you're able to connect with all your teachers, all the staff, and all the students. But with Davidson's, it was you're going to a different class each hour. So like with CFI, we only have the 4 classes. So it's easier to sit there because with how it is online, you can get multiple classes with the same teacher. So it's easy to have 2, say you're in one class for 2 hours, it's easy to work on that in another class that you have the same teacher for like those next 2 hours. That's what I like a lot more than what it was at Davidson. I went to Lapeer since I was in preschool. So it's like I've been with the same group of kids since I was young. I can definitely say it's more overwhelming to be with a big group of students and like in the hallways and like public school, like you're more worried about what people think about you, whatever. Like, and when you hear alternative school, you think of like, oh, kids are gonna get fights and drama, something good, but like going to CFI was probably like the best decision for my senior year. When I was told I had to go to CFI, I did not want to go at all. I threw a fit. I told my mom, I was like, I'm not going there. I don't want to at all. I completely was set on not going. But once I actually did go, I was like, wow, like this is actually like genuinely one of the best schools I've been to. Because I didn't have to worry about like not knowing what to do. Literally the moment I stepped in, somebody was helping me. I got Miss Crystal, our secretary, she immediately gave me my schedule. Miss Taylor came up to me and was like, this is what you're doing, we'll log you in, we'll help you, these are your classes, it goes this way. So the fit was very not needed, but we're good.
And Olivia made a new class, so we're bestest for life, right?
Oh.
Whatever you say, Mr. Spills.
Right.
No, no,
So I think
Just
the cool thing for me is I saw Sori, which is a 9th grader over at Zebra, and we had conversations. She was a 9th grader, and And then when Olivia came, you know, I think she wanted to storm out of the front office. So when it came, she's not exaggerating, so she was dead set not coming. But you can see that something, you know, clicked for them to where it was a good fit for them. They, you know, 2 students, you know, one of the things we talked about at CFI is trying to get kids to expand their educational experiences. So 2 young ladies who are going to give college a try is something that is very uncommon in our time at CFI, but we're seeing more and more of that. And, you know, Sarah and I have worked really hard, and Jackie Music have worked really hard to do that kind of stuff. And so really cool to see these 2 young ladies grow up and have a great experience with us. So up next is going to be Michonne, and she's going to talk a little bit about our LVP program and some things that we are doing out there to help bolster that goal.
Well, first I want to say thank you for your continued support over the years for the program. I'm truly blessed to be able to be part of that program. And I just can't say enough for you guys always being willing to support it. As we talk about meeting our board goals, I just wanted to share some of the things that we're doing in order to help us get there. And so our staff, our elementary staff is phenomenal. What they have done is they take a look at the data and see who our kids are that are struggling in reading. And then they connect with the parents and they make a time for those students to come in and meet with the staff, and they start doing reading recovery with them. And they spend either 30 to 45 minutes once a week. And yet we have seen great growth in our students. And they give the parent a plan, because if you're only seeing them once a week for 30 to 45 minutes, we really need the parents to buy in and help. And so we've seen students who've come that have been really deficient, and in the first year we can get them reading, but they're still not proficient. But then the next year we get them a little more, and pretty soon they're proficient and on their way. And so our staff really works hard to build into these families and their students. Another thing we did to support reading for the younger ones is we offer a group reading class on Wednesday, and the students can come in, our little students can come in and they meet with an instructor who just really embodies of reading. We know that if we want our kids to be proficient, they need to read. They need to love to read. And so they will either read a book aloud to them and then do activities, or they'll have the students read portions of the books together as a group, and then again, do fun activities that link back to that. And we've seen the families really enjoy having that support. We always build into March's Reading Month like every other building in the district. But this year, I was really proud of we have the Scholastic Fair. We always have the Scholastic, when we do have the Scholastic Fair, we always open it up to not only our families, but the whole community, the whole homeschool community. They're allowed to come in and shop, because as homeschoolers, they don't have access to that. And so it's a great way to build into the community and have them participate. This year we had 100 students participate. Now, remember, some of these are virtual. They never step out on the property, right? So 100 students participated, and 1,300 entries were given to the March's Reading Month team. And so then they put them in some program that spits out who's winners. I don't know how they do it. I'm thankful they do it and not me. And so how did these entries come about? Well, of course, we want them to read, right? And so they enter how many books they've read and how long they've read, and they get points for that. They've been able to design their own fantasy book covers, so they got points for that. Dressing up, a special time. Coming to the book fair and taking a selfie. Building or designing their own bookmark. So all these different things gave them an opportunity to earn more points for the great prizes that Mrs. Szymanski always goes out. She's our not retired or failing retired person. She always goes out and gets the best prizes for our students, and we couldn't do it without her, and so I'm so thankful for that. And so, I don't know how to use this clicker. This one? Thank you. Okay, so technology is not my strong point, hence the reason we have Katie Edwards. Also, along with reading recovery, the staff out there looked at the data for math and said, we need to do something about math. We need like a math recovery program for our students. So guess what? The elementary staff built a math recovery program. So now they're pulling those students who are low, and they're meeting with them once a week in small groups and building into where the gaps are and hopefully helping them to become proficient as well. And what did we do? We added an hour once a week at group where now they come in and we're making it fun to learn math. They play games, they do board games, they're doing competitions on the computer, virtual games. And the families have really enjoyed being able to have that resource available. For our older students, for our 8th through 12th grade, we have drop-in tutoring, 4 days a week, 2 hours each day. Families can drive up, drop their student off, or if they're high school, they can drive themselves, come on in, no questions asked, they tell us what they need. And so I want to just share with you 2 testimonies, one from one of the teachers that works and one from a parent. First one is the parent. My son Nate is a sophomore at LVP. He has been part of this program since 2017. It has been a positive experience for us. One of the great features that he has taken part in is tutoring. He struggles with confidence and anxiety in math. Starting last year and continuing through now, I take him early 1 to 2 days a week so that he can work with his tutor on his math and other subjects if necessary. They take the time to explain the problems, and in turn, this helps him build confidence to work more independently at home. It has been a game changer. Not only do I find him more confident with math, but he is also more self-assured when asking questions during class. This addition, one-on-one time, has helped him work on not only his math, but also his shyness. We are very lucky that LVP provides this and look forward to the continuing to use it. Jamie Schmidt. Then, Kristen Banke, one of our drop-in tutor teachers, recently shared about a student who regularly attends tutoring. When he first started, he was hesitant to join the 2-day program and tutoring sessions. Now he feels confident enough to participate in the 2-day program and uses drop-in tutoring a few times each week. He works on a range of subjects from Algebra 2 to Art History. We help him with everything from understanding math concepts and formulas to finding information in his lessons so he can answer the questions. When he has an English project, we spend time revising and polishing his writing. Education matters a lot to the student, and he always wants to do his best. This is some of the things that we're doing at LVP to help us meet that board goal. Once again, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And last but not least, Katie Edwards, who is one of our LVP teachers out at the partnership.
Thank you. Okay. So I did want to hop back to the slide really quick. So this is our amazing team. And at LVP, I get to work with some of the most innovative teachers and administrators. We're always coming with new ideas, and Chad and Michonne have our back. Everybody is working together to keep moving forward. And I'm excited because I get to talk about some things that are on the horizon for us in my part of this presentation. So one thing that's super important to us too is feedback from parents, from students, and from other staff in the program. And that collective voice is what's really keeps us on this upward trajectory. We keep moving forward because of that. So to understand what we're doing though, it's first important to kind of understand the problem that we're looking to solve. So I want to look at very real people, very fake names, Maggie, Joe, and Pam. Okay. So Maggie is a mom of LVP students. She has 3 kids. She's doing everything right. She's doing every math lesson with them. She's reading every book to them. She's taking them to all the OLAs. But she has kids in different grade levels, so she's reading 6 chapter books a day. She's feeling crushed under the weight of the coursework. And she doesn't really know a better way to do it. There's not really a better way to do it. And then we have Joe. Joe's a student who started at LVP in 3rd grade. He had not been in school for a few years before that. And so now as a 3rd grader, he's a beginning reader, and he needs a lot of resources. With the limited number of times that we can see him during the week,
This means that a lot of that weight has to be put on that learning at home too, and the time he's spending with his parents. And they don't have all of the resources to help him close that gap. And so then there's also Pam, who is a teacher who might find an error in the science curriculum and have to send a note to our vendor that, hey, we need this fixed, this answer is not correct, it's marking kids wrong when they get it right. And hopefully she hears back, hopefully it gets fixed, but maybe they never reply. Maybe it never gets done, right? Because we're sending it off to some big company.
You sound frustrated with that,
Pam might actually be named Katie, that is. So Pam has also done things like make guided notes for her students with special needs, and a lot of other accommodations that an update to the curriculum that is unannounced can make all of that just useless overnight, right? The reading might change with no learning at all, and then all of that work is just, it's not helping the students, it's not doing anything. So these problems might actually sound unsolvable at first, but they all have one solution, and that is really to make our own curriculum and have our own learning platform. And we've actually started doing this already. So the vendors that we use that are very polished, professional, expensive vendors are using this Agilix Buzz LMS building system. LMS stands for Learning Management System. And so the courses that our kids are taking in there are made by other companies, but we have started building them. So the Spanish is built by one of my colleagues who has a certification in Spanish. And the STEM class is one of the ones that I built, and with permission, I shared one of the projects that was submitted online. So the student read all about Gustav Eiffel and learned a lot about different parts of STEM, and their assignment was to build a tall structure that had good support and modeled some of those concepts that they learned about. So what we're really looking at is, okay, this has been successful with electives. We need to do this with our core classes too, because our kids deserve these resources. They deserve this more immersive learning and all the things that we can give them through this in their main classes too. So we've always sought the best vendors. We've always tried to have the best ones that are out there. But there's just a limit to what Candy Curriculum can do. And we've kind of hit that ceiling. And so to find out what's next is really like we're going to have to build it. And we have started building it, so that's exciting too. So one thing to think about is we really got to the point where why are we paying more for less than what we can do ourselves? And so that was another big conversation that we had too. So when we make our own curriculum, we can have instant fixes, things like that. But if we take a look back at these different problems, I can tell you what some of these solutions look like. So for Maggie, we can have an online audiobook library that she can just log into and have her kids' anthology be playing in the car while she's running errands and take some of that huge reading load off of her shoulders. It can fit seamlessly into other parts of her day and really lighten her load. For kids like Joe, we can design prescriptive courses that have different phonics skills and things that he's missed. So taking a pre-assessment will open just the lessons on the skills that he does not have yet. And he won't waste time on things that he does know from the education he had before, but we'll just work solely on closing that gap and giving him the supports that he needs to do that. And then teachers like Pam can not only fix errors and have them stay fixed, but when they build resources for their students with special needs, they know that when the student actually gets to that assignment, the resource will apply. And they can also put in special things like more advanced projects and other options for things that would enhance student learning that they can do too. So there's so much that we can do with this, and with using open educational resources and resources that we've created ourselves in-house, we can print them, we can reproduce them, we can put them online, we can do whatever we want with them. We can really make it so much more accessible than some of the copyrighted materials that we're using now. And then I'll look at what could come even beyond that. Having these virtual courses that we design ourselves, we can do things in the future as we continue to improve and build these, like you can assign virtual badges that students unlock for different milestones in their courses. This computer game right here was actually coded and built using AI, but it reviews the mathematical content in the unit. And so a video game like this can be embedded in an online course to give students extra practice in a way that feels like engaging and meaningful to them. So I'm really excited about what we've done with electives, and I am so grateful to be a part of a team that would even consider taking on a project this monumental and definitely innovative is the word for it. And I'm very passionate about this, but I'm so glad that we'll be able to give our families and our students courses and tools that feel really premium and actually not cost the district or the families any additional money, right? That will be done. So thank you so much for letting me share this. Really appreciate it.
Katie, where you have built kindergarten, right?
We're finishing it up, yes. All the anthologies and alignment and everything is done too.
The core classes for kindergarten. So we are, this work is already happening. She's been working on it for the last year. It's going to be revolutionary, I think, for our district moving forward. So as we conclude, you can see there's a lot of things that we are doing to try to hit that goal. And that's why I believe that goal needs to increase, because I think we're going to surpass that with some of the things that we have going on and with the people that we have working and the kids that are taking advantage of the opportunity that you did that you heard tonight. So with that is the update for LVP and community high.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions or comments this evening?
Well, I was just going to say, you're leaving and then you say you want to raise it to 85. I like when you did that. But since it's virtual, does that mean you're going to do it from there? Sure. Sure, yeah.
Excellent point.
You're getting time right in, so. Great job again. Yeah.
I just want to say thank you. I love, of course, LVP is one of my favorites down the road from my house, and I think it's great. All these different programs are just phenomenal. I'm Pam, dealing with the software at higher ed in college, where we have find mistakes, right? Yeah, you have to wait. I don't know what happens to you, but we have to wait till you actually assign it again, even if they do correct it. So it's such a pain. I can totally relate with him. But, and I think this is awesome. OER is so much, I'm sorry, I call it acronyms, but Open Education Resources is so much, there's so many possibilities. So it saves a lot of money. I know that for sure. I mean, as much as, as creating your own and all that, it's a lot of work. So appreciate all the work that all of you put in. I love hearing from the students. You guys are great. I really think it's awesome that you had the courage to come up and speak, and you'll do well in college that way, okay? So, so thank you so much.
I just want to say thank you to the girls for your honesty about why you're here. I think that, it's refreshing to hear from our young people. It's always one of the favorite things that we love being up here is hearing from our students, and your ability to share with us your experience, how you got here, what your goals are, and how you've already surpassed them is just huge. And I can't wait to be at your graduation this year. So congratulations on all of your achievements, and keep raising the bar and keep going high. You'll do great. Thank you so much. And Sarah and Chad and you over there. Michelle and Keegan, sorry. Amazing presentation. Thank you so very much.
In the context of strategic planning and all the discussion we have about where the district is headed, Shad alluded to kind of the history of these programs and how they've evolved over time. And I think for the community that's here, one of the things that we place a premium on is choices, right? That education can't look exactly the same as it did for us in our experience as it does in 2026, let alone 2036. When we have people on staff who recognize that the student experience looks considerably different for a larger percentage of our families than it ever has, public school districts are well served, boards of education are well served to get out of their comfort zone in terms of creating a structure that allows kids to come at this thing differently. I mean, you listen to Sori and Olivia's story, you could make the argument that those are very non-traditional pathways, and if we didn't have these they may have been so frustrated with the system that they achieve nothing. And is it worth it as educators, as boards, as a community, to stay married to these ideas of what we think school should look like? But the marketplace is changing, the economy is changing, the skill set needed to be successful in that marketplace are certainly changing, which makes it incumbent upon us to just take a different look at this whole thing, right? For most of us in this room, you went to kindergarten when you were 5 or 6, you sat in a chair inside a brick and mortar building from 7 to 3 for 13 years, they gave you a piece of paper, and you went on to your next step. And for generations in this country, that system produced some great results because the economy that you were going into fit the structure of education that you were learning in. And that simply isn't the case today. So although these programs appear to be vastly different, they are not. They sit in this alternative bucket of teaching and learning that more and more families are asking us to produce. And so when you hear in the coming months about some strategic planning initiatives the district is considering and a kind of a new look at how we structure it, for those of you who are watching and those in this room, what you heard today is an absolute, I think, representation of what this whole system can and should look like for young people. It doesn't mean we dispense with the traditions of Lapeer. It doesn't mean that some of the old methods aren't good. It doesn't mean some of the old traditions are so outdated and not important. They are. So it's kind of like we want a small town feel that produces world-class opportunities. And you can have both. That's the great thing about it, because the people that you heard from today, those same people are the ones that are going to be in front of our kids. It's just teaching them, and it just looks different. But it's still about relationship. It's still about caring about a kid and investing in a kid and their family and the needs that they have that you might not be familiar with, but you take the time to learn about it. It's just different. But it's that's very encouraging, I think, for those of you that have not seen some of these things, to say that your school district is working really hard to provide options for kids, many of whom, without them, would not be successful. That's what we have to focus on. That's great.
Absolutely.
And just one more thing, I forgot to say, Sarah, I thank you for that book. I wrote it down because, again, in college we run across the same issues, with students. So that was powerful to see those.
Yeah, she's got one for the bridges, the gap is the one for the community, and then there's one for the student that's called Our Rules. So she's got like a series for.
Awesome. Well, thank you. That was really eye-opening.
Yeah, I wanted to say thank you for the book. I actually wrote it down too. I just would like to read it. I think it just shows how we keep getting to the deeper level of connecting to all of our students to be able to give them exactly what they need. Their very pointed education they need. We're doing that everywhere, and that's the best thing. And I really love you guys coming to speaking to us. You're both so inspiring, and Olivia, I'm really glad you gave it an opportunity, because look what it's gonna do for you, right? So, and you did it in such a short period of time. So both of you are very inspiring, and I just look forward to crossing paths with you again.
You're going to, because they're going to be presenting to large groups of people in the near future.
I see it.
Sorry. This is your dry run at presentation.
And I just think all the things you're doing at LCS is amazing, and I really appreciate the encouraging you're doing to families to come and just really see what our programs are like, and the amount of passion you guys all have behind that to bring them, grow the program, and to be what it is. And I am just so excited to see this curriculum develop over time. Just your passion about it, I'm like, I really want to go back to elementary school to experience it, just because I just feel it, like I felt it in your words and the passion behind it. So please keep doing that. Our students and our community are benefiting.
And you can really tell they love it.
Yeah.
All of them.
All
Students
of them.
and the instructors, right? Teachers.
Look at the picture of a little kid standing with his tower. He had the biggest smile on a little kid, right? Just little things like that are so impactful throughout their education. Thank you for taking the time to share all of this with us. We appreciate it. Okay, with that, then, we will conclude our presentation today. Thank you. Next is public comment, but I don't have any public comment cards this evening. Oh, okay. I guess they just did not make their way up to the table. So, while we're getting those collected. Thank you. Okay. So a board meeting is a meeting of school district business held in public. It is not a public meeting. The board is not going to respond to those making public comment, but will direct the superintendent to follow up with the presenter. 30 minutes is set aside for public comment, so each presenter is being asked to keep their comments brief. The board does not comment in public on any student or employee and asks the presenter to be respectful of any person they comment about. Okay, Bobby? Bobby Jean?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Some of you may know me, some of you may not. My name is Bobby Jean Bartlett. I'm a parent here in Lapeer Schools. I have 3 children. One has graduated. 2 are getting ready to graduate. I got a junior and a sophomore. I'm here today to talk about my sophomore. God bless her. She's my theater child. That is what the norm is that we seem to be having. Back in January, she was giving a presentation on the ed tech and the options at the ed tech building. One of those options that they were presented to was a hybrid program offered through LA City, and it's a very performing arts ed tech experience. It is my understanding, it is college accredited. It is part of the college, it's a CTE accredited program, which is the Career and Technical Education. It focuses on jobs and careers for those children who are looking at going into theater. Child will be a theater major. I know it's not a traditional major, it's not something that a lot of parents are looking forward to, however, that is my child. She is anything to get on that stage. If any of you guys know the cabaret, she's actually got 2 numbers in that cabaret this year. So, that is what she does. She is my performer. Anything to get on that stage. So that is her career choice. That is what we are going to, that is what she is looking at doing. So, Michigan requires visual performing arts as part of the curriculum. We have that here in Lapeer, we do, but it's strictly limited to choir and art. That's it. And I am talking, we're looking at band, choir, and art. There's no musical theater classes. There's no theater classes. There's no vocals. There's no dance. There's nothing for that child in Lapeer Community Schools. If you look at the curriculum, we are trying to find your schedule this year. Brought copies if you guys want to see it. Part of the course catalog. You will see an elective. It says theater arts. She attempted to sign up for it twice. Her counselor said, no, it's not offered. You will not have that class. Find something else. That's it. She's also ahead in her classes. What she's looking for is the electives. She's only got, I think, 5 required classes left going into her junior year. She was taking high school credits back in 8th grade. She's done with math. She's got, I think, in English. She's done with foreign language. She's done with, after this year, I think she's got 1 more science left. Her histories are done. She's in government. She's had PE. Most of the bulk of her required classes are done. She's looking at electives. You guys don't have what she's looking for at all. It's not in our curriculum. Won't tell you what I pay for dance outside of school. She's a competitive dancer. If any of you guys have competitive dancers, cheer, whatever, you understand. It's expensive. She can't get that at the school. I pay vocal lessons for this child every single Tuesday. Vocal lessons. Because she can't get that to the school. She has choir. Choir and individual vocal lessons completely different. Choir is about harmonizing. This individual vocal lessons is getting her going from her chest voice to her head voice and all the notes in between. I'm going to be honest, I don't fully understand it. I just send her, pay the money, make sure she's getting what she wants to. She lets me know she needs something. She's a very independent child. So, then she's presented with this program. This program through Emily City. She brought me paperwork, screenshots from a friend who is part of the Emily City hybrid, Lapeer hybrid production. That program addresses dance, theater, vocals, the individual classes, all as performing arts credits. She's attempting, she has attempted to sign up for the program. My understanding, it's in collaboration with the EdTech Center. We send kids to EdTech for a multitude of things. My oldest went for IT-Net. I have a nephew who went for carpentry. I've got friends' kids, automotive, manufacturing, hospitality, horticulture, culinary art. I've got nothing for our theater kids. Emily City says, hey, we're accredited, we have the building, we have the facility, we will take your kids for 3 hours and put them through an actual theater coursework. We're now being told no. This is not an option for our children. My understanding is we have five students, all juniors and seniors, starting, I want to say they're all juniors as of next year, that want this program. There are 5 of them. They all drive. Transportation's not an issue. Worst case scenario, I told them if their parents aren't comfortable, I work from home. My schedule is flexible. I can grab my laptop and literally work anywhere in the county.
1 minute remaining.
What?
1 minute remaining.
Thank you. So I have no problem assisting with that. I've been on a approved transportation list before of a child in robotics. There's no transportation for robotics. We're out there every weekend driving our kids. Back and forth. Competitions, states. I already got worlds on the calendar. This is what we do. This is a program our kids are looking for. It is something that she is looking for her career, and she is unable to attend this program as of right now. We're just asking for that reconsideration, or at least an explanation. We've been given nothing. I've emailed every one of you guys. I've received no response to my email from anybody on this board, from the superintendent to every one of you guys, and I'm just looking for clarification. Thank you.
Michelle Barlow?
Hello everyone. My name is Rachel Bartlett and I'm a sophomore at Lapeer High School. I'm speaking today about a decision that seems to have been made without input from students, parents, or faculty. In January of this school year, all of us sophomores were required to attend an assembly about the programs offered to us through the EdTech Center. One of those programs offered was musical theater hosted by Emily City Schools. As a Lapeer student, I have been active in our school's theater program since the 7th grade. I participated in roles and as a choreographer for the productions. I have also attended the State Fesby Festival and am currently the vice president of our performance troupe. Upon graduation, I plan on pursuing an education and career in theater. In order for me to have the skills necessary for my chosen career path, I have to take many classes and volunteer positions outside of my school, including vocal lessons and dance. Last month, our counselors asked us to sign up for classes for the next year. One of those options on the paperwork given to us was theater arts. My counselor told me that is not an option at our school. Why then is it on our paperwork? I then asked for the paperwork to sign up for the program offered through Emily City as it was presented. I was given an application for the EdTech building, which I did turn in. 1 week later, I was told that the program is no longer available to us students here in Lapeer. Currently, there is no program for me to get this education as a Lapeer student. Ever since my first musical, I now plan on doing this for the rest of my life. But I'm unable to do that as a student of Lapeer schools. So I have then thought about switching schools or even going homeschooled. On the official Lapeer Community Schools website, it states, Lapeer Community Schools, District of Choices, in bold letters. Currently, there is no choice that works for me. I would prefer to stay a Lapeer student but be able to attend this program. Almost all other students are able to pursue an education in their chosen field, but us theater students are not. We students would wish to attend the Emily City Theater Arts Program. Thank you.
Charles House?
Madam President, members of the board, good evening. My name is Charles House. My son is a sophomore here at Lapeer High School. A few years ago, I began working my son's first show, and I can honestly say when I began doing it, I was quite underwhelmed. As a former high school thespian, I was used to lackluster, unimaginative shows and performances. However, when we began building the set, I was already impressed. The set was huge, it was well thought out, and my hopes began to increase a little bit. On opening day, I was in complete shock at the quality of show that was put on and that our students performed. I would actually use the phrase Broadway level. I really was amazed. I watched as our two directors putting countless hours of energy, effort, and skill into a high school performance like I have never seen. The work that they do with our students is simply amazing. The passion that I saw in my son's eyes was what every parent looks for when their child finds something that they truly love. What our directors cannot do, due to the lack of curriculum at Lapeer High School, is offer dance, acting, and tech lessons to further and enhance our very talented students. You can imagine my excitement, but more importantly, my son's, when we found out that our students could attend a vocational program that offers all of this, plus college credits, while still being able to attend Lapeer schools and perform in Lapeer shows. And imagine our sheer disappointment when I was informed that a unilateral decision was made not to move forward. I was very excited for my son to be able to put these classes on his college resume, as well as better help prepare him to perform at Thespies, where a lot of our students do go and compete for scholarships. I've been to every performance, I've helped build every set, and I cannot remember seeing many of the leadership attend. I've only heard of one board member taking advantage of the comp tickets that have been offered to everyone here. So I was very surprised when this decision was made, which in my opinion may have been made without full knowledge of what was being taken from these students and without knowing how this could help with the quality of our own program here in Lapeer. In this room, there are other parents and students who are not happy with this decision, and sadly, due to other school-related commitments, other parents could not attend even though they wanted to. Since we moved to Lapeer, I promised my son that we would not move again. We'd move from another country to another county and now to this one. And he has held me to that promise, I assure you. The last thing I would like to do is move. However, since this news, he on his own is considering school of choice next year so that he can receive the education that he desires. If budget is concerned, I do not see how motivating students to leave is going to help, and a great way to do that is to offer less to our students. So based on your own policy manual, I'm asking the board to reconsider this decision. It was made unilaterally. I encourage the board to ensure that that does not take place again, especially when it affects the students, their future, and their college opportunities. I'm also asking that this class be approved. I was very encouraged by the superintendent's comments when you said that we want to have a small town with world-class results. The best way to do that is to offer a CTE program, which is only one of 3 approved in the entire state, ran by folks who spent their entire careers on Broadway. This will be a great opportunity for our students, so we ask you to reconsider. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, I think that is all of my comment cards for this evening. We will head into our reports. We'll start with finance and operations. Can Dr. Watson, would you share the committee report?
Sure. The Finance and Ops Committee met on March 20th at 2 p.m. via Zoom. Myself, Lisa Novak, Summer Putnam were there. Others in attendance were Matt Wandry, Eric Engels, Julia Geiger, and Mary Moss. Called to order at 2. We discussed bid pack number 7.3, district-wide drinking fountain replacement. Barton Mello recommends the following for bid pack number 7.3. Ecker Mechanical for district-wide drinking fountain replacement for an amount not to exceed $226,102. This will be funded by the Filter First Grant Program. It was the consensus of the committee to recommend full board approval at tonight's meeting. And the 2026-27 food service contract renewal. Erica explained that food service contracts must go out for bid every 5 years, which we did last year, and we renew them annually. The district is recommending that the contract with Chartwells be renewed for 26-27. It was consensus of the committee to recommend full board approval tonight. And we adjourned at 2:16.
Okay, any questions or concerns?
I have a question. What about the filtration systems that are already in this building, in the buildings? The water fountains.
Yeah, so all the bottle fill stations, we're still going to replace them. The only ones that won't be replaced are the ones that were done with the bond.
Okay. All right.
And that's to make sure that all of them have the same filter. That way when it goes time to change it, the district doesn't have to have 3 different kind of filters.
Okay. Make it more uniform.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because I know that there's been a lot of groups within at least the elementaries that have raised money in order to pay for those, and so I just want to make sure that those are actually still going to be utilized. So, okay. Like student council, I know.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
I mean, student council, I know, and
PTCs,
PTCs
yeah.
have provided a lot of support for those, so I'm glad to hear that they're still gonna be on. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Watson. Next, we have the Teaching, Learning, and Technology Committees. Mrs. LeVar, would you please share the report?
Yes, we met on March 26th at 6 p.m. via Zoom. Attending were myself, Summer Putnam, and John Van Wagner, and Matt Landry, Michelle Bradford, and Mary Moss. We discussed the Sex Ed Advisory Board. Michelle Bradford explained that in order to ensure compliance with state regulations, any school district offering sex education must adhere to specific standards regarding instructor qualifications, advisory board composition, and program evaluation. She shared that a required sex education advisory board has been established consisting of 2 community health reps, a local clergy member, 2 educators, an LCS student, and 5 parent reps. Additionally, she outlined the grade levels that will participate in sex education and provided an overview of each program's content. The PD Advisory Committee, Michelle Bradford reviewed flexibility provided in pupil accounting rules, which allow districts to use district-provided professional development hours to count as days and hours of pupil instruction. In order to utilize this flexibility, pupil accounting regulations require a district-wide professional development advisory committee appointed by the board. Specifically, the advisory committee must recommend at least 8 hours of professional development be used for instructional hours and be composed of various members of the school community. Michelle Bradford shared that the board appointed committee members, which must be composed of teachers employed by the district who represent a variety of grades and subject matter specializations, including special education, non-teaching staff, parents, and administrators, with the majority of the membership of the committee being composed of teaching staff. The board committee unanimously supported the committee membership as presented. It will be placed on tonight's board agenda for full board consideration. We also discussed overnight and out-of-state field trip requests. A field trip request for the varsity and JV football teams to travel to Alma College, Michigan on May 14th through May 17th, 2026 was discussed. Actually, that is June 14th through June 17th. That is when they're really going. I know this because my son will be one of them. Also, a field trip request for the varsity volleyball team to travel to Ferris State University, Michigan on July 17th through 19th, 2026 was discussed. It was the consensus of the committee to recommend approval for these field trips. They will be placed on tonight's board agenda for full board consideration. We adjourned at 6:22 p.m.
Is there any questions or concerns? Thank you, Mrs. Lamar. That concludes our reports for this evening. We will go into our action items. Our first is consent grouping, which consists of the approval of the minutes of March 4, 2026, the overnight out-of-state field trip request for the varsity and JV football teams to travel to Alma College in Michigan on June 14th through 17th of 2026. Overnight out-of-state field trip request for the varsity volleyball team to travel to Ferris State University, Michigan from July 17th to the 19th of 2026. Overnight out-of-state field trip for the high school student council to travel to LBN College, Michigan on July 19th through the 24th of 2026. Appointed Sex Ed Advisory Board, appointed Professional Development Advisory Committee. Are there any consent grouping items that anyone wishes to have be removed? Okay.
Just don't know about the dates.
Do we need to make a motion for changing the date?
I don't think so, but it's been submitted on the actual form as May, but
I know it's June because they're going after school.
after school.
We just go down the
Maybe
wrong
it's-
page.
okay.
This is, I see that the attachment. Yeah, and so those also.
Yeah,
So he wrote down the wrong dates on the form.
Yeah, May 14th and 15th are school days, so I added that. Okay.
I think you got a 6 instead of
Yeah. Yeah.
a. Okay, so I think we're good then?
Yeah, we're just,
Okay,
No, it's a
so I will take a motion then.
I make a motion that reading of the minutes and policies be waived and the consent agenda items be approved as presented.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Dr. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mr. Van Wyk?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, we have the food service contract renewal.
I'll make a motion that the food service contract with Chartwell be renewed for the 26-27 school.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none. Dr. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mr. Van Wyk?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, we have resolution approving sale of the property to Hada.
I'll make a motion for the resolution authorizing the sale of property to Lakata for an amount not to exceed $27,090 be approved as presented.
Support.
We have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Dr. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mr. Van Wyk?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Next, we have the 2025-2026 budget amendment.
I'll make the motion that the 2025-2026 general fund amendments be approved as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none. Dr. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mr. Van Wagner?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. And then last, we have bid pack 7.3 district-wide drinking fountain replacement.
I make a motion that Ecker Mechanical be awarded an amount not to exceed $226,102 for district-wide drinking fountain replacement.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Dr. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mr. Van Wagner?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. So that concludes our action items, and I will open it up to any board member communications.
Strike zone, team 5460, sailing event this past week, right? Won the event, the captains of Alliance won, they ranked obviously first, they had a 12-0 record. They also got an industrial design award, so next on to states.
Did we also say that they set 2
Records?
Well, they set one and then broke their own.
And then broke their own,
Yes. Like for point score.
They are doing very well.
That's amazing.
I sit at home and watch the screen. My wife gets tired of me.
for a whole bunch of other reasons.
Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah, it's nothing to do with the money. But, okay.
But we love it.
Right.
Other comments this evening from anyone else?
All right, I thought I wasn't gonna talk, but I just can't. We had a huge, wonderful national champion powerlifter. Shad, can you help me with his name?
Zane Sanchez.
Zane Sanchez. The notoriety, this young man, and what a fantastic achievement.
He lifted over 1,500 pounds in the 4 lifts. So he was a national champion. He's going on to worlds.
And didn't he just start?
He started
Recently?
last year. So
Okay.
Jake Brown, who is our is a teacher, just a teacher for us, is a powerlifting coach. He was a powerlifting guy when he was in high school. His dad, I think, was a powerlifting coach down in Yale. Where he came from. So that program started about 3 years ago, and Zane really focused this year on that piece. I mean, look at the picture of him on that stage. He is a behemoth compared to even some of the other kids. I mean, he's a very nice young man and just awesome stuff. I mean, I think it goes to the testament of what you guys have done for the board, from the board standpoint of making sure that we have a facility of the weight room that we have right now to allow a kid like that to go and find his thing in high school and has excelled beyond belief. So really, really cool. It just shows when we put in things in this community and they're utilized for something like that, it's incredible.
Yeah, do we have a girls program or no?
There's girls in the program too. Yep.
But that's just pretty recent.
They started at the same time. Jake took boys and girls at the same time. So, and they go and travel to a bunch of different rooms. I mean, I think maybe not this year, but in years past, we've had a couple girls who competed pretty well and finished very high in their class or whatever it was that they've done over the last couple of years.
I actually got to meet the coaches at one of the events. I
Yeah.
actually went up to them and said, "Hey, I'm a board member," you know, and it was great. They were very positive.
Yep.
That's just such a great program. I don't think people realize that. I mean, it's a great second sport, right?
Absolutely.
You know, and it just
well.
develops them in character and everything. There's so many positive So thank you.
I will turn it over to you, Superintendent Woody, for your comments this evening.
Well, I'll keep mine brief. I appreciate the public commenters this evening. I'll be contacting each of you individually in the next couple of days and have a little conversation. But thank you very much for taking the time to come here and share with us. I said at the beginning of the presentation today, kind of tongue in cheek, that it was Shad's final board presentation, and I say that to mask my sadness at his departure, but I want to offer public acknowledgement of his leadership in our district, in our community, and publicly recognize him for, and Chad will be the last person to take credit for any of the successes that we've heard about in the last several years while he's been at the helm of these two programs, not to mention our district athletic director as well. He's a man of many talents. But these programs don't flourish without great leadership. And Shad has taken what were great ideas and hopeful innovations and taken them to heights that I did not even anticipate when we first kind of whiteboarded some of these ideas. And our district is certainly better for having had him here for the last 10 plus years. And I think any professional person, that's the highest compliment they can be paid. That you made a difference that will endure beyond your tenure. Personally, Shad is someone that district leadership looks to for input on our many decisions as a building level leader, as a committed administrator and employee here for over a decade. I can honestly say that when Shad chooses to just walk into my office, and typically it's preceded by, "Matt, do you have a second?" which means, "Do you have an hour and a half?" And typically it's, "I have an idea." So I was well served in the first part of our relationship to just say, "That sounds great, Shad. Let me know how it goes, and you've got my full support." And the manifestation of that is here this evening. So on behalf of Central Office Leadership Team, Board of Education, the many staff who you've led over the course of your 10 plus years here, and most importantly, the students and families whose lives you've impacted in a very positive way, I want to say a heartfelt thank you. You're going to be missed, but I think your wife wants you in Kansas after 2 years of living apart. And just as an aside, Kim and I were talking last week about, we're really going to miss Shad. This is a tough loss. And Kim's exact words to me were, "Do you know that," because this is a little personal, but I think you'll appreciate this, that Shad is a very, very supportive husband. And he moved from the state of Wyoming to support his wife's lifelong dream of becoming a Division I cheer coach. And she got the opportunity to do that at Eastern Michigan University. Now, I don't know if this needs to be said or not, but that wasn't like a job that came with a windfall of cash. It was an opportunity, and Shad decided that he would move with his wife Mary and support her, and that's how he came to us. And he came from the state of Wyoming to support his wife. She then got what I think we may characterize as the opportunity of a lifetime to go be the head cheerleading coach at a major Division I Power 5 conference school in Kansas State. And once again, Chad said, "Go get him married, but I'm not leaving yet." So we got Chad for 2 more years, and he has done his best to support his wife. And in that 2-year period, Chad's mother-in-law lives with him, and Chad takes his mother-in-law out for dinner once a week. And Kim's comment to me was, "I think Chad Spilsky is the best human being I've ever met."
I think if you look up in the dictionary saint, you might find a
So,
picture.
we're not losing just a great administrator, we're losing a great human being, and that's just one small story that tells the story of, I'll say how your students affectionately refer to you as Spilsky. Thank you, Chad. Sad note, I yield back the balance of my time to you, Madam President.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn. Support.
Okay, Dr. Novak.
Aye.
Mr. Lipko.
Aye.
Dr. Watson.
Aye.
Mrs. LaBarre.
Aye.
Mr. Van Wagner.
Aye.
Mrs. Cutler says aye.